Right, well, it's that time of year when you can go to any fishery in the country and start bagging on carp like that. That's actually one of the smaller ones we've been catching. That one's probably £6. And all I'm doing is fishing a top kit. It's one of the things in a lot of fisheries I go to now that it stops foul looking. If you get the fish really close to you, you can actually get more in the mouth, which is a big problem sometimes. And the kit I'm using is just a simple edge monster pole or margin pole. I'm just using hard pellets. When that water warms up, hard pellets can make a huge difference. They're heavy. It's quite deep down here. It's probably 3.5 foot. I've got a simple rig of 021 power line main line and a 019 bottom to a 16 XSH hook with a simple hair rig band on. I like 16s. You could probably step up to a 14 if you want, but I like 16s. I think you just get a real good hold. But if I went up to an 8mm pellet, I'd probably fish a 16. I've got 21 Dura slip elastic. Now you might think that is like extreme, but when you're catching lots and lots of big fish, this stuff is actually quite forgiving. It's a lovely elastic. It's not overly powerful, it's just nice, and we are catching a lot of big fish, and these fish in this venue fight like hell. It's that time of year, sort of, you know, May, they start thinking about spawning, and I've just got a simple bulk on there. As I said, it's quite a deep margin, 4x14 inline diamond. I try not to strike, I'm overexcited then. And then you can just look at, I've got the rest of the margin pole set up because just in case one, I've had some fish over double figures, and believe you me, they absolutely steam off. Now it all depends on the fishery rule. When I'm fishing like this, you can fish really short lines. So I'm talking like 2 inches. A lot of venues now you can't do that because you've got the fishery rules, but if you can, when you're fishing like I am down the edge, when you're missing lots of bites as well, if the float is sort of going like this with liners, you can fish a real short line, hold it tight, and you literally drag your elastic up. I'm not doing that. They're proper having it, to be honest, if you get a bite. It's not absolutely solid, and I don't think it will be because they are big fish. That's a bite then. Let's see the boil then, look. They're crafty, they suck your bait and spit it out so quick. I'm just going to chuck a few more hard pellets in. They've got a few traces in. They've got a few 6mm red pellets in there as well. So if you want to put a red on the hook, you can. It plums up a little bit funny. There's a little rudd or something. There's quite a few rudd down there. They're having a bit of a party with the pellets as well. There's a tiny little shelf, and then it sort of drops down. You don't know how you big, you know, you can catch the biggest fish in the lake doing this. Don't always work in matches. Sometimes you've got to go down the bank a bit, get away from yourself. But late in the day on certain venues I fish, got that scum blowing at me at the moment. I'm just pushing the float back towards me. Little liner. I've tried shallow down there, they're not quite having it. There's not enough coming in the peg to catch, because it is a deep margin. Sometimes you can catch shallow, maybe sort of a foot off the deck. It's not really happening like that today. Just got to be a bit patient and strike at the right bites, or lift up on the right. You don't need to strike really, just lift up. There's a lot of venues, some venues I go to now, you can actually waste a lot of time trying to catch off the bottom. There you go. And that elastic, I'm going to throw a few pellets in. That elastic gets the fish under control. You don't have to lose, it's not a big fish anyway. Oh, although it's not a bad size. So I've got a monster top kit, don't you know, very, very strong. Especially for the juniors out there as well. They can go out to their dads, absolutely catch these fish all day long on a simple setup like this. Get him under control. Get him in like that. Another 5-pounder. I've actually caught the 2 smallest fish since I've been filming that we've actually caught today. So just get the hook out nice. Treat the fish with respect. You know, keep him off your foot plate like that. Try not to get him smashing around your foot plate. And you can just lift him in. Obviously, if he's going in your keep net, back in. We'll try and get one more. Let's put a red pellet on this time. Someone banging the hell out of something over there. So we'll get a red, one of those tracers that's in those hard pellets. Make sure the band's nice, like that. You can use a banding machine if you want to. Just throw a few pellets down. This is what you don't need a lot of bait. So just flick that. The wind's a bit awkward at the moment. Just sort of blowing that scum towards me. If they were really having it, that could have been a rudd. There was a few rudd about, but you never know. That's better. See it like that. This is the thing as well with hard pellets. If you go to a venue with, when you get small fish problems, hard pellet is probably one of the only baits that you can actually get away with to sort of get through the fish down to the fish that you want to catch. Liner then. It's always an awkward one with deep margins. Ground bait would be an option, and micro pellets would be an option, but I always try and start off with deep margins when it's warm by trying to feed the biggest pellet that I can get away with. On F1 venues, probably with 4 mils, depending on the depth of water you can get in. That was a bite then. And then if you go to venues like I am today, then try and get away with 6 mils. And obviously sometimes 8 mils. I always prefer 6 mils. I just think it's just a nice, I always feel like I'm feeding some up with 6 mils. I can sort of get the fish competing. With 8 mils, unless it's like really, there we go. That bite looked absolutely horrendous really. I thought it was a rudd bite. Not a big one again. A few pellets. And don't, you know, just control it. Don't, that's a small one. That 21 Jura still coming out probably 5 foot with that. 4 foot, yeah, probably 4 to 5 foot. And it's the wear and tear factor. If you go into a venue where you are catching big weights, the wear factor on your elastic is massive. And that was on a red pellet as well. Perfectly hooked, look. So just let your top kit come back a bit so you don't get too much tension on it. Get him out. I'll try and catch a big one for you really. That pellet's not too bad, we'll leave him on. I'm just going to flick that away from me a little bit. You don't need to feed loads either when they're having a go. Oh, look at that. So I was flicking it away from me. Harder the fishing was, I would actually start feeding some 4 mils, but I've tried to sort of resist really and just feed 6s. There's nothing there. The nice thing with pellets is there's no cloud. Obviously a lot of the venues you go to you might have to feed ground bait or they won't come in properly. But if it is one of them days or one of them venues where you can just get away with hard pellets, they take some beating. See if we can get one of those big boys for you. Little liner then. There's quite a few rudd up in the top layers as well, milling around, sort of hitting the bottom of your float. Like that. There we go. Bob Nud. Down there. That 21's a little bit heavy for them. Throw a few more pellets down. And I've not actually fouled up one yet. That's the most important part of all this sort of edge fishing, really. I do have problems some days, and I think because you've got to feed smaller particles to get the fish in your peg. That's them rudd. Got a load of scum there at the minute. The float looks disgusting with that scum on it. Throw a few more pellets in. Oh, it's close to the bank. Liner. Not even going to strike it that. That's either a rudd or possibly a carp. Just come in the peg off the bottom. That wasn't a liner. So just let him go out, see what he's going to do. I'm not going to panic. Good fish, that one. So I'm not going to bother feeding this time. It's better to feed possibly when the float's actually in your peg. I think you might be wasting your bait by feeding whilst you're not fishing the line. But these Edge Monster top kits are super, super strong. Look at that, don't get better, does it? I love it this time of year when you can catch fish like that. Said 16 hook, you don't need, if you want to start up to a 14, oh, that's a purple. That one's got like a purple haze to him. I caught one many years ago, about £20 at a venue, a purple common. It was absolutely stunning. And this one's like a lever. Gosh, do they fight in this venue? You don't really, with that elastic in as well, I don't really need to use the pull bung or the side puller. It's about right on this top kit. Yeah, beautiful condition, eh? There we go. So bring that back. Try and bring the top kit back a bit with you as well. He's got a bit of a sort of purple haze to him. Steady, lad. But there you go. Just get out, nice and simple. Get the right gear. 16 hook or 14 hook, excess hook, air rigged. I'm not going to pick him up because they are as lively as you like here today. And yeah, that's probably £7. Yeah, unfortunately, we probably caught the 3 smallest fish on camera that we've caught all day. But there you go, nice and simple setup, nice and positive, hard pellets down the edge, don't get better.